guys, my name's Caleb. I'm with shop DK Imports, and today we're going to be showing you guys how to install our FRS seats into an SW20 MR2 chassis. So relatively, these are pretty easy installs. So we're going to go over these real quick and we'll show you what we have to do. We're installing these FRS seats into our friend of ours 92 MR2 Turbo. So this is a right-hand drive car, so of course this is going to vary a little bit to most traditional left-hand drive installs. But it is a simple process that we are going to basically unbolt the seats. You bolt in the rails, we bolt in the new seats. It's pretty straightforward. Now we're going to go over what we have in our kit here. So we do not provide the FRS seats. We can provide them for extra, or if you'd like them to be tracked down or something like that, you can get in contact with us. We may have some in stock, or we may be able to find you some. So if that's something you're looking for, feel free to shoot us a message and we can see what we can do. Alright, so when you're swapping your FRS seats into the SW chassis, the great thing is the rear bolt holes actually already line up with the stock mounting points. So that's the easy part. All you need is our front brackets in order to adapt these to your stock front bolts. Now our plates right here, our brackets, they're made from 3/16 steel and are fully TIG welded to ensure high quality welds. Ground down and then powder coated in a nice black. So that's our brackets right there. So our first step, of course, to installing the seats is we need to remove the stock seats. Now it is a pretty easy process, and since this is a T-top car, we're going to go ahead and take advantage of the fact that we can remove these from our room. This isn't a requirement. If you have a hardtop or a sunroof car, they fit in just as well. It just might be, you have to maneuver them a little bit differently to get them in. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to start with removing the left seat. So of course, on US cars, it's the driver's side, so in some cases the steering wheel might kind of interfere a little bit with your install, but it won't cause you any problems. So first thing we need is a flathead screwdriver, which I did forget to mention, or you can use a pry tool or something of that sort to pop off these front covers on your seat brackets. So this seat bracket cover just pops off. It's really simple, small clip. So we're going to pop off the other side as well, which is like that. So now we have access to our front 14mm bolts. So we're going to use our impact here. And now we're going to move to the rear bolts. Alright, so we slid the seat forward to gain access to our rear bolts, both of which are also 14mm. So we're going to go ahead and just pop these out with our impact. And you have the two bracket bolts, and then you have the side brake bolt right here that is also a 14mm nut. So we're just going to go ahead and pop the bracket off. And now your seat is good to remove. So part of the FRS seat swap is we need to swap the stock MR2 seat buckle onto the FRS seat, because the FRS seat buckle is not compatible with the MR2 seat belt. So in order to do that, you need your 14mm again. Now these are pretty tight, so they may take some force if you're doing it by hand. But we're just going to knock that off right there. And we'll knock that off as well. This is actually the driver's side FRS seat in a US car. So as you can see, they do have a seatbelt warning light right here. That's their two wires for it. I went ahead and cut it on this seat because we do not need the warning light for this seat buckle. On the driver's seat of this car though, we will be swapping it on to the would-be passenger seat of a US car. And I'll show you the process of how to swap over the wiring and such. But for right now, we do not need to do that, so we're going to go ahead and you got to screw out these washers right here. You got that off. Now we can pop this on. Put on your nut on there. And now you have your MR2 buckle on your FRS seat. Before we install these brackets into the car, I just kind of wanted to give you guys a picture so you guys can kind of see how they go together. So the bracket sits like so. The tabs are going to be facing up, and that's going to be what bolts to your FRS seat. So it's going to bolt into your stock location, like so. You'll bolt in your bracket, and then the seat bolts right here will drop right in. You're going to be using our grade 8 hardware that we supply, and that's as easy as that. Alright, so before we install our seat, we're going to go ahead and put our bracket in place. So you're going to reuse your stock bolts, or if you want to, you can get new ones. I believe these are M10 by 1.25. started. Alright, so we have them started in there. We're going to leave the bracket a little bit loose and until we get the rear bolts in, then we can come back and tighten all the bolts up. And now once your bracket is loosely in place, we're going to go ahead and grab the seat and put it in. Before you put it in, it's easier if you slide the rails all the way back because we're going to put in the rear bolts first. So we're going to go ahead and pick up the seat. Plop it inside here. Once you got your seat in place here, you're going to take your stock 2 rear bolts. You're going to go ahead and thread those in. It's kind of a little tricky with the location of the rail, but reach across here and do the same. Now once you got those in, take your ratchet, take your impact, whichever you're using. We're not going to tighten down these all the way either. So we're going to get them to where they're down, but it still gives you some room to play with the seat. Now that you've got your rear bolts in, slide the seat back, and we're going to go back up and we're going to tighten up our bracket bolts. So I'm using the impact as well, the 14mm. Tighten that up. Press it. Tighten that one up. Now we're going to take our grade 8 hardware, and we're going to just go ahead, drop it in there on both sides. Now once we have our bolts dropped in, we're just going to get our nuts and spin them in on the underside. Now technically you could install the nuts on the top side if you wanted, and it is just personal preference of how you'd like those oriented. Now once you tighten down those front bolts, don't forget to come back here and tighten down the seat bolts. Once those are tightened down, you have your FRS seat installed. Alright, so since this car has a quick release steering wheel, we're going to go ahead and pop this off just for a little bit easier access. Now this is pretty similar to the other side seat removal. You have to pop off some plastic caps, but you do also need to remove your trunk latch and your gas door opener trim right here. So it's just a Phillips head screw, and then there is a plastic trim screw as well, which you can use a flathead screwdriver to remove. Sometimes these get a little stuck, but with a little bit of effort they'll come out. So that comes off, you pop off the cables, and your seat is ready to remove. Alright, so we have our driver's seats. So this is the MR2 driver's seat, and this is technically the passenger seat of the FRS, but it works no different from either side. So we do need to swap over our seat buckle. So this is the MR2 seat buckle with the harness, which bolts right in here, and the harness feeds through the nuts here. So you just unclip that, pull it out, and it's the same process on the FRS seats. So there's the stock clip, we're not using any of that, and so we're going to pull that out. Now to swap over the seat buckle, we're going to put this in place, run the wire through underneath the rail, and there's actually a provision right here on this seat, see that tab, where we can clip the stock clip to. So we're going to go ahead and take that, clip it on, and now that's ready to be used. Now, in order to install our FRS seats, it does require trimming of the lever surround. So with the FRS seat brackets, since they protrude slightly farther forward, they interfere with this right here. So as you can see, it interferes right here. So what we are going to do is we have to trim off a little bit in this corner. It might vary per car. Trim off small bits at a time and test fit in order to ensure the best fitment. So we're going to go ahead and trim that, and then you're going to be good to go. So we finished trimming our lever surround right here. We just had to take a little bit off on the side here. You won't even notice it when the seat's in. We tightened down our bracket. Now we're going to be ready to install the seat. It's the same process as the other side. We're going to put the seat in, put our rear bolts in loosely, and then our front bolts. Same thing, super easy, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so we bolted in our driver's seat. It's the same exact process, like I said, as a passenger seat. So your rear bolts, your front bolts, tighten them all down, you're good to go. So we're going to pop on our steering wheel, which so happens to match the seats. Test out your seatbelt, and you're good to go. So these seats are fully installed. That's all it takes. It's a pretty simple process. You're going to mostly be using your 14mm, and you're going to need a few other socket sizes flathead screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, little odds and ends. Overall, pretty easy job. Great support, a lot more bolsters. It is a bit firmer, so some people like that. I'll just hop in here real quick for demonstration purposes. Now, I'm 6'3", and so I do actually clear the ceiling and have room, even with the T-tops on. It is a bit tighter than stock MR2 seats. But if you set it up in the right way, you're gonna clear just fine. Now with these seats, one of the great things about them is the bolstering. As you can see in this seat, is far more aggressive. While not being too aggressive like a race seat, it holds you much better in your position. So you're not rocking around, you know, the seat's not squishy and you feel like you're being held through the corners. That ends up being able to help you transition through your driving experience and feel like you're more in line with the car. Overall, these are a great mod. They're very easy to install without being too expensive. They're usually even less than most aftermarket race seats. You can find them on eBay, your local parts yards, car-part.com. We can source them for you. They're all over. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to go ahead and cut it here. Please, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, you can give us a call. We'll leave our number and our emails in the description so you can go ahead and contact us. And we'll also have a link to our website where you can buy them. So thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed it.